Let them fix fuel and learn. That's the reason why I'm brother. What happened? We are hungry.
Today on the show, Comrade Omoyele Sowore joins me. He's a Nigerian politician, a human rights activist, he's a citizen reporter, a journalist, a pro-democracy campaigner, and he's also, he was the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress in the 2019 and 2023 presidential election. Well, he's part of the people convening the protest, organizing the protest. Yes, I think that's the right word. That is supposed to begin on the 1st of August, according to what their demands are. And they've actually listed quite a lot of demands. We just texted down that he's going to join me in 4 minutes. So, hello, good evening, Comrade Omoyele Sowore.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm very well, and thank you so much for being with us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's get straight up into the conversation. The last 13 months or thereabouts has witnessed a whole lot of issues, especially in respect to how democracy is being practiced everywhere in the world and how our own type of democracy is being practiced. And as a result of that, there's been a drum for support and mobilization ahead of the proposed nationwide protest on the 1st of August, which are part of the people leading it, even though the people have said, oh, it is being led and organized by hunger, by scarcity, by poverty in the land. However, there's been a lot of position put out by you. Comrade Omoyele Sowore, before we get into that protest, let's talk about the state of the nation, especially in respect to what the people that fought for this democracy, and somehow, logically, I'm going to put you in front of that, because I saw quite a lot of articles you put out back then. Your advocacy, almost like the right-hand man of the late Moshood Kashima Olawale Abiola. Take us through that journey and where we are right now. If Abiola was alive, if the people that fought for this democracy are alive, is this the kind of democracy they would want? Especially after 25 years of the Fourth Republic. How do we come to this point? Talk to us.
Well, I'm more interested in the kind of democracy we were fighting for as young people when we were students at the University of Lagos and being part of the larger National Association of Nigerian Students. We were fighting for a democracy that carries all the tenets and characteristics of democracy, and which is to say that the democracy must allow for free speech, free and fair election. It must guarantee citizens their fundamental rights, and would also empower individuals to determine who should lead them. That is not the democracy we have today, and this is why I have frequently used the word morontocracy to describe Nigeria's democracy, which in my own opinion was that a bunch of morons in 1999 just hijacked what everybody thought was going to be an eve of El Dorado or a better life at the minimum, and then turned it upside down and had turned even the military guns against civilians with whom they fought and got to power. That's been our experience, and that is not the kind of democracy that we're fighting for. Definitely, I do not believe that that was what Abiola was fighting for and died for. If it was, we would have by now also turned into it would have become a historical renegade. So that is why those of us who for democracy and who are very competent with everybody that fought at that time I would never accept any form of democracy that is different from the one that we worked on and fought
for. Okay. And one of the things you said is free speech, and as absolutely captured in the 1999 Constitution. And also captured is the right of the people of the citizens to protest. In fact, the right of the citizens to be protected during that protest was also captured in the Constitution. Hey, there's been a lot of coloration, a lot of religious, tribal, political coloration ahead of what is being planned for 1st to 10th of August. And in your statement, you said you could also, go beyond the 10th of August. Talk to us, and why do you think protest is what the country needs at this time, Comrade Omoyele Sowore?
Well, protests are globally recognized, internationally recognized tools for resistance and exertion of one's fundamental right to say, well, I said no to what the government of the day is doing. And that's why sometimes it's an oxymoron to say that a protest is peaceful, because by nature, protest is already designed as a standalone way of saying, no, I'm not going to accept this. It's this way of consciously objecting to what is wrong in my society. And what has often happened is when people decide, either individually or collectively, to say they don't want it, using the instrument or tool of protest, the government has always been very, very harsh on them. And that is what typically leads in other parts of Africa and the world to people taking, further steps and sometimes armed struggle to confront subjugation and oppression. But protest doesn't take into account using violent means to express yourself. And that has been where people like me have been. I do not pay attention to how, when people decide they want to rise up, how they are couched. Since I was born, since I've been a student activist, there's no protest I was involved in that wasn't couched in a way that wasn't going to sound palatable to people, because the goal is to discourage people from that. And I can tell you that even the most open and democratic societies, leaders don't like protests. That's why protests are so powerful that even as harmless as they sound or look, characteristically, leaders don't like protests. Whether it's done by one person or it is done by a million people, because they are so potent to carry the power that even an armored tank or a gun or a bomb cannot carry. So, and I guess that is why you get all these kind of narratives that you've been talking about. Like sometimes they'll say it's ethnic, sometimes it's religious. The reason they are not using religion on this matter this time around is that the central government of Nigeria is firmly in the hands of two Muslims. So you cannot claim that one is sabotaging the other. And it was supposed to show to Nigeria that Nigerians are not necessarily as religious as we think. That a lot of people are open. People just want to have a government that works for them. They typically would not care if things are working if the two people who is president and vice president are traditionalists, or they are Buddhists, or they are Hindus. They don't care as long as things are working. But here every form of division has been weaponized. Every form of deprivation, like hunger, has been weaponized, and they know how to throw the banana at the monkeys of this sentiment. And people just jump at it, because you can have 500 Nigerians. They have forgotten where they come from, their ethnicity, and they're working together. But the moment they want to ask for something from somebody, suddenly the person pulls 5 out and say, they just want to run me out of town because I'm Yoruba. They want to run me out of town because I'm Ijo or because I'm Igbo. So that is how Nigeria has been operating, and that's where we are today. But I don't pay attention to those narratives. They're so backward and ineffective that paying attention to them means that you subscribe to them. And done.
Okay. Comrade Omoyele Sowore, the Take It Back movement, wrote a letter to the FCT minister for the right to use the Eagle Square. And I saw the new letter well published. And I look at that letter and it kind of, captured the undertone, according to the many interpretations that I've read, to that letter today. Talk to us about that, and talk to us about why it has to be in Abuja.
No, Abuja is the federal capital territory of Nigeria. It used to be Lagos. So the people who are creating the problem of hunger, starvation, unemployment, corruption, and insecurity in Nigeria, they are based in Abuja. And by nature, this is the first nature of protest. Anybody wants to protest must, as a necessity, protest where his voice will be loudest and have the most impact. So if you stay in your room and go on hunger strike, uh, they won't care about it because they can't see you. You die. You know, you can be broadcasting and say you're dying. But if someone carries a flag across Abuja saying I'm hungry, like the guy they call the flag boy in Abuja, it catches the attention of everybody. The police, DSS, army, everybody's like, why is he complaining about hunger? So we're going to Abuja because that's where the problem is. That's the federal capital of thieves in Nigeria. So we are going there, and we wrote the TNB wrote the letter to Wiki not to seek permission to protest, but to use the Eagle Square, which belongs to the Nigerian people, as a convergence zone, since the protest is going to last several days. So it's just like you want to go and run a marathon. They'll provide a place where you put your bags, where you can refresh, bath, water, and the Eagle Square is the most central place. And because the Eagle Square is right across from the villa, which the protesters said they will visit during this protest, that is why they requested for Eagle Square. And they have requested the minister to cut the wire mesh and separate the Eagle Square from the villa's gate, so that nobody will be in any enclosure to avoid stampede. So it's a very direct and straightforward letter. It appears that you have read it. So, by now, I believe it must have been submitted to the minister's office officially. But I'm aware that the minister has received it from several Nigerians since it was published this morning. Yeah.
Okay. About 2 weeks ago or thereabouts, you released 14 demands. Being put out to 15 rather, being put out to the government.
Yes.
And one of them is the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution should be scrapped. One of them that the Senate arm of the legislative system should also, be thrown away and out of it. Can you take us through some of these demands? And after then, I'm going to ask you, so that you put it out there, how achievable, how possible are these demands, the 15 demands that you've listed? You can take us through them.
The first demand is the Constitution. The Nigerian Constitution, or the Constitution as it is defined, is the grand norm for any society. That means it is the binding document on everybody that guides everybody. So, behavior and conduct and, membership of any society. So, for you to call it a constitution, you must have all the constituents of that society come together and write the constitution or debate it, either in written and unwritten form, and then bless it or consolidate it or breathe life into it by way of referendum. The 1999 Constitution did not have all those characteristics. It didn't have the necessary legitimacy, because every constitution is started with a statement, a paragraph saying, we the people of Nigeria were not there when they made the constitution in 1999. It was made by the military. And let me shock you. By the time President Obasanjo in 1999, the constitution, a copy of the constitution was not available. It had not been printed at that time. They swore him in with photocopies of the constitution. And I didn't say this. It was said by the Minister of Information at that time, John Wood, who was supposed to be the person in charge of printing the constitution. So that tells you how flawed that constitution is. And they've tried everything they can to try to amend the constitution over time. But the truth, even in law, is tried in law to say that you can't build something on nothing. So we're asking that, take that constitution out. Let all the constituents come together at the Sovereign National Conference. Why is it sovereign? When the constitution is done as a document, nobody tinkers with it. You don't want contractors who just change and write constitution every year to be in charge. You want Nigerian people. You should go to a referendum. The second demand there, as mentioned, is to cut costs. This idea of somebody being a governor, and when he's done with governorship, he will now go to a
With the
retirement home
Senate. Mm.
at the National Assembly. It's unacceptable. Some of them are already collecting. They've stolen so much money as governors, especially all these former governors. And then some of them are already on government pension, governors'
In their
pension, which are
states.
unthinkable in their state. And then they come to the National Assembly and call themselves senator, wearing all these big boo-boos, doing nothing except just extorting money from the Nigerian people, extorting money from government agencies, ministries, and departments. We say Nigeria doesn't need that. Even if you ask me, right, we don't even need more than the Senate. We need 81 people, or no matter the number of, is it 109 senators?
Yes,
And
109.
as lawmakers in Nigeria, yes, even the House of Reps, if I have my way, I want to use the House of Reps. Each person from a senatorial zone in Nigeria, which is 109, is enough to make laws. They are not making any laws anyway. These guys are just having fun in Abuja. And I lived in Abuja against my will for 5 years.
Mm.
I was restricted to Abuja. So I saw the nook and cranny of Abuja. Abuja is crazy. It has some of the craziest people, the most jobless people in the world are based in Abuja. It is not an oxymoron for somebody to be jobless and be rich. That's what Nigerian lawmakers, leaders, and government officials are. They are jobless, wealthy people. People who made money without lifting a finger. Whereas the people who have to work their hands out on a daily basis are the ones scrounging, trying to get one pure water and buy 500 naira guys. They work 8 days a week. The minimum wage they are paying doesn't buy them anything. But the senators are earning $25 million a week. And the guy who goes to work every week, who's only entitled to just 4 weeks of vacation, most of them don't take the vacation because where are you vacating to when there's nothing to rest from? They are the ones who have to get 70,000 naira. The people who don't work are the ones who get 25 million naira a month. The Nigerian legislative arm has gone on break for 7 weeks.
Hmm.
And they don't even, so many of them don't even come to the chambers. Anytime you watch them on TV, that chamber is always very, very empty.
Outfield.
Yes. So that's why we recommended that they should take that out completely. And the third, I think we're talking about minimum wage. Everybody has known now, they increased the minimum wage to 70,000. And the only reason why they increased it to 70,000 was because they heard this protest was happening. And they thought that this would diffuse the call for protest. But after they approved it, nobody is smiling, except the labor leaders who were doing that shameful bossa in the Asorok Villa. Of course, you and I know the reason why they are doing bossa. For a minimum wage they know cannot even serve the workers that they represent. So there are several other demands. These demands are not difficult. Asking to release Nnamdi Kanu and demilitarize the eastern part of the country. It's not a bad demand because this is the only thing that will bring harmony and peace. You cannot be releasing Boko Haram commanders who have killed several people, kidnapped, raped, and reintroduce them into the Nigerian army. Give them senior positions, give them amnesty, pay them. And you can't release a guy who only said we want self-determination. And instead of you to address that, you send more army to go and kill innocent people in the east. So, is it free education that is too much to ask for, or the fact that they should renationalize all the national assets that they sold, at giveaway prices? And I have been proven right by Dangote, who recently said he would prefer to sell his refinery to the Nigerian government than to become bankrupt. But these are the guys who were saying a few years ago that you need to sell everything that belongs to government because this government has no business in business. But the Ethiopian government can run an airline that relies on Nigeria. The British Airways relies on Nigerian passengers. Emirates relies on that. But Nigerian state itself cannot operate an airline. The only time we tried to operate an airline recently, it was a fraud. So why do you keep all these incompetent criminal people in power When you can all wake up one day and say, look, enough is enough, let the poor breathe.
But it looks like the people that you're asking this demand from, it looks like a couple of them don't even have an idea of what the people are going through. And let me explain to you as it stands. One would expect that in a country where we're practicing democracy and the citizens of that country are planning a protest, you would expect that the government should do things that will make life a bit easier for those people. Unfortunately, on the street of Lagos, there's fuel scarcity. The little people have to move around, they are stuck in traffic for hours because the only fuel stations selling have blocked the road. We have a situation in our hands. But Comrade Omoyele Sowore, one of the things that a lot of people have expressed in terms of these fears is the aftermath of the 2020 NSAS protest. The destruction of lives and properties, and the devastating effect of such. Can we guarantee, Comrade Omoyele Sowore, or let me put it this way, can you, as a leader of the Take It Back movement, that will be converging at the Eagle Square from 7 a.m. from the 1st to the 10th of August to protest and bad governance in this country, can you guarantee the safety of everyone involved in that protest and ultimately the entire Nigerian population as a whole that could be joining that protest?
It is the job of the Nigerian security architecture, the Nigerian state, to protect citizens. If they cannot do that on August 1, all of them, from all the councillors to the president, and come and resign, and we can reset our country from there. But there's no need second guessing what a protest is about. And nobody should use NSAS to blackmail anybody, because it was the government of Lagos, the government of federal government in Abuja, that turned NSAS into a deadly bonanza for security agents. It did not start with shooting at Lekki Toge, where some of the most peaceful Nigerians gathered, waving the Nigerian flag, singing the national anthem, and soldiers were shooting at them execution style right in front of them. But before that, if you remember how the Lagos state government used official buses, BRT buses, to move thugs to that Lagos Alausa place where people were gathered. And they did that for several times. You remember that iconic guy who was holding machete, who is well known from Agege, who till today was never arrested or even questioned for holding machete to attack innocent protesters. The people who did NSAS designated locations that were so disciplined that if you steal a phone at the NSAS protest ground, they will recover it from you immediately and hand over the person who stole your phone to the police. So why are people contextually changing the narrative that the NSAS was deadly? It was government that killed people during NSAS. It was government that instigated the thugs and the urchins and the hoodlums. And then when they didn't succeed, they sent hoodlums in uniform to go and kill innocent Nigerians at Lekki Toge. Why are we changing the narrative now? So, and people are saying this time around they want to gather again. They've even given enough notice to the government. They've told government this is where we are going to be gathered. They've told government an idea of how long it might take. They've also reached, in some cases, as you mentioned, government was notified officially that this is where we like to converge. So, what the responsible government do in that regard? You protect the protesters. You protect the protesters even from the so-called hoodlums. And because the protesters have locations where they're operating from, you have the chance to now protect the neighborhoods with the police. Instead of the army concentrating on how to suppress the protest and the police, they should concentrate on how to protect the innocent civilians who are protesting and those ones who might fall victims to anybody who is acting out of the boundaries of the protest. Is that too much to ask for? Definitely not. Yes, but they like to lie and bamboozle people by claiming that NSAS was violent, but they set up inquiries across the country and found the police guilty of instigating NSAS. They found the army guilty of killing protesters. This is the official document we all have. No NSAS organizer that I know was ever accused of plucking a leaf from the branch of a tree. None. As a matter of fact, most of the NSAS connoisseurs, as I like to call them, who gathered at Lekki, were middle level of, fairly well-to-do young people. People who had independent businesses, artists, movie stars. Are those people going to steal? Did you see any one of them with a knife in his pocket? No. Would they be the one who will now go to ShopRite to go and steal? The people went and looted ShopRite are the people they bust to go and attack. And when those guys push them back, they just went to the neighborhood and start looting. And the government knows them till tomorrow. They know who these guys are. So, but we are pretending a few years later that, NSAS was violent. No. Look at Kenya. The U.S. government is finally speaking to the Kenyan government today that they should tell the police to start attacking protesters. But maybe another 5 years time now, the protesters in Kenya, these historic heroes of the democracy or the birth of a new Kenya possibly, will become the victims. They will become the villains because Africa has no memory.
Comrade Omoyele Sowore, you just made mention or made reference to what happened in Kenya. But of course, we all saw the destructions that actually trailed the protest that was, taken up upon by the Gen Zs. That was what they called the people handling that protest. Millions of Kenyans came out and they placed their demands, in front of President Williams Ruto, which he actually, succumbed to a couple of those demands. The finance tax, for instance, the scrapping of monies allocated for the office of the First Lady and the Second Lady. There were also demands at that point that some of the ministers and the cabinet that is too large should be reduced. But the president actually, gave in to some of those demands. Comrade Omoyele Sowore, the revolution now, the Take Back movement had placed 15-point demand ahead of the federal government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Which of these demands, if attended to, could make your movement halt the proposed nationwide protest that is scheduled for 1st to 10th of August?
The first 15 demands that are public knowledge now are the demands that are non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. That is to say, these demands must be met first and foremost before any kind of negotiation can take place. If we wanted to make it impossible to meet, we would have made for 64 demands, which would mean that we have one demand per year since independence. So these ones are non-negotiable. You have to meet these demands first before anybody. But you know them, they're not interested in progress. They're not interested in governance. They're interested in hubris. We're talking about protests. You go and invite traditionalists to say you want to do oral festival for 15 days. Do they sound like people who are serious, who are interested in meeting any demands? They're not interested in meeting any demands. The only demands they're interested in meeting is the one that suits their own agenda. And that is where and why we are where we are now.
So let's go back to what I raised the other time. That is the aftermath of what could happen or what could go wrong in every protest. I've also been privileged in my little time on this job to cover quite a few protests. I was on ground to cover the protest that was organized by the Save Nigeria group in 2012 to protest the removal of subsidy. I've also been privileged to cover a couple of campus-based protests. Of course, I was here on ground to cover the NSAS protests of 2020. And in the midst of all of this, Comrade Omoyele Sowore, one thing is significant. These protests should have workable and feasible demands. In all of these that you listed, and I'm asking you again, do you think these demands are achievable within the short time from now till the 1st of August, perhaps you think the president could call for a conversation, even though the National Assembly, both the Green and the Red Chamber, had gone on 7-week recess to come back on the 17th of September. One would wonder, in the midst of all of this chaos, the people that are saddled with the responsibility of making laws for us have decided to go on rest. 7 weeks. It's okay. It is the right to have such rest. But I'm asking you again, Comrade Omoyele Sowore, do you think these your demands are realistic? Do you think they are workable within the short time available right now? Or you feel Nigerians or the people that believes in your movement should get ready for the 1st of August?
They should get ready for the 1st of August. You are a journalist, right? Your job is to cover the protest or to analyze when you have talking heads like me in the studio as a veteran. The government of the day has not told you that they can't meet this demand. So why are we in a hurry? Why are you jumping the gun? Our goal is to make the demands available as widely as possible for those who are interested. And what we heard from every one of them is that these demands are solid, they are watertight, and they should be met by the government. Without which, protests will start on August 1st. But as someone, I don't need, as someone who's experienced in this, I don't need a crystal ball to tell you that this protest will go ahead. Because I know the people we are dealing with. They don't care about you and me. They believe in their invisibility and impunity. And that's the route they will go first. Even the guys in Kenya, they started out that way. They said, oh, this is treasonable felony and all that. But when the people met the power, as they say in Nigeria, when iron meets iron, one go bend. So that's where we are now.
Okay, now I want to ask you the lighter one. I mean, we all understood what it felt like when you had the city restriction. You mentioned it earlier on, where you were held within the FCT against your wish for 5 years while your case with the federal government was going on. But now, I mean, you move around, which is good. You've been with us in the studio a couple of times, which we always appreciate. But I want to ask you, in clear terms, Comrade Omoyele Sowore, would you be on ground on or before 1st of August to initiate this protest?
My answer is very simple. And I hope you hear it loud and clear. That I will be participating fully in this protest. And that's the only answer I have for you. So that's my answer.
Okay.
Final answer.
Final answer. we're not having countdowns on this one. Okay. Comrade Omoyele Sowore. Also, we know that beyond informing the Minister of FCT because of the location that you're asking for, the Eagle Square, have you also reached out to the relevant authorities, the security agencies, because we know that it is their duty to protect the people that are protesting, which is really key. Have you reached out to them, and what have been the feedback? Because we've heard that on the commissioner of police in Abuja is saying that there won't be any protest allowed in the FCT. We've also heard from the Inspector General of Police saying that what happened in Kenya will not be allowed to happen in Nigeria. This sounds like some institutionalized restriction. Have you heard anything from them if you reached out to these individuals?
The only thing we need to do has been done is to declare our fundamental right to protest against conditions that are stifling of our existence and dignity. And in furtherance of that, when a venue that is being held by the state is needed, they had also done what is expected by writing officially to them to hand over the keys. We're not even asking them to hand over the keys, to bring in the people who manage the place, because we are using it for convergence. So those are enough, in fact more than enough, because the laws are, even the military imposed constitution it's very clear that protest is a right. Furthermore, Femi Falana, who you know very well, who is very, very versatile, versatile lawyer now, who is close to us, went to court on behalf of Buhari and ANPP and took a case over the right to protest all the way to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal decided, in its own wisdom, the Nigerian Court of Appeal, that you don't need a permit to hold a rally. So, as law-abiding citizens that we have even gone way and beyond by announcing that a protest will happen. And the most important thing is that all of them are aware. They have been speaking about it. That shows a level of consciousness and awareness of what is going to happen. So there is nothing else to ask of us, and there's nothing else to ask of the security agencies, but for the citizens to exercise their rights, and for the security agencies, who are first and foremost Nigerian citizens, to also do their due diligence and duties. Nothing else to add.
Okay, Comrade Sowore, I will soon let you go because we had a time that we agreed on. But let me ask you this question. You were the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress in 2019 and 2023 presidential elections in this country. And I want to ask you, if you had won the election, what would you have done in this situation if you were the president?
This is like asking for cheat sheets. I won't tell because I have to reserve that for when I become president.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
So, there's nothing to give. We're not giving out the expo here.
Okay.
We are discussing the protest coming out.
In the last couple of days, Comrade Sowore, there's been a lot of narrative surrounding this protest. One of the spokespersons of Mr. President, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, had attributed this protest to the Labour Party presidential candidates, and there have also been voices saying, "Oh, this is politicized." Even the FCT minister, Barrister Nyesom Wike, had also made mention of the opposition in charge of all of this. Can you speak to this school of thoughts? And also, there's been traditional rulers, religious leaders also appealing to the people to shelve this protest. Respond to these issues and then we'll call it a day on the show.
The response is simple. Politics is the reason why we are talking today. Because people subscribe freely to the leaders, and the job of the opposition is to hold those in power to account. The job of the citizenry is to also do the same thing. And the people who you have quoted are to power by protest. They are the textbook example of protest to power. Tinubu was involved in several protests since he was a senator in 1992 or so under the military, when he was the governor of Lagos State, when he was no longer governor, he was the national leader of the party. He even called for a revolution. There was a time he also said he doesn't believe in Nigeria anymore. So, what are you telling me about these hypocrites that you don't? What are we discussing about them that you don't already know? They know that. And Bayo Ononuga that you're talking about, Bayo Ononuga himself was running a newspaper that was proscribed by the government illegally. So he's not himself exactly a law-abiding citizen. Are you getting my point?
I'm with you.
But I respect that he did that. In fact, I was his biggest fan because he resisted Abacha. And the military and several other governments have come before and after that. So, what are we then talking about here? Except that this is the reason why they don't want history to be taught in schools. So that people will not understand that Nigeria has had a serious history of resistance and resilient opposition to oppression. Do you know that this is the same country that some women in 1939 call About Women Riot, forced the colonial masters to stop what they are now doing in Kenya. There was a version of the finance bill of the colonial masters in 1929. Women stopped them. Fela's mom in Abeokuta organized women to chase out the traditional ruler who wanted to use Oro, this same Oro that they are talking about now, to suppress public voice. So there's nothing they are doing now that has not happened before, and there's nothing they are doing now or they're about to do that has not been defeated by the Nigerian people. Whether it's under the military, either a monarchical system or a diarchy, we have always defeated these guys. And for the first time, I think the reason why they are freaking out is that they are seeing a national unity against their impunity that has not been seen on the scale that is going to happen now in Nigeria's recent history. That's why they know that there's some trouble in the horizon.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Omoyele Sowore. I would need to read a couple of the messages we have. In fact, we have loads of them, but of course I have to read a couple of them. You would hear one or two of them you want to respond to very quickly before we let you, because
don't forget I have to run, so I have another.
I understand.
So let's do 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Let's do that.
Okay, let's get that real quick. Okay, thank you very much. This one says, I'm listening to all of the things that Comrade Sowore have said. Truly, we need to review the present constitution, and also the protest should be violent free. God bless my country. That's Kabiru Adegbenro. This one says, no one in Nigeria is happy. Even the president that is happy, is he happy with the situation? The protest is good, especially when the government is trying to go astray in some of the policies. But to be honest with you, some of us are not in support of this planned protest because of the fear of the outcome. Even the comrade that is talking cannot guarantee what the outcomes can be. Okay. Thank you. This one says, Larry Olakomi says, if Mr. Sowore truly wants to serve the country, he should have known that leadership ladders cannot be climbed from the top rather than from the bottom. You should do away with this grandeur of deception and start from. Okay. Thank you very much. I got you. Comrade Omoyele Sowore, the messages are quite much, but because I promised that I wasn't going to take much of your time because of other engagement, I would need to let you go. But finally, the countdown is up. Everybody is talking about it. Opinions have been raised about it, even though some of the leaders are distancing themselves. A friend of mine that works at the airport just jokingly told me yesterday that within day before yesterday and yesterday night, it's seen more than 12 or 15 notable Nigerian politicians getting out of the country. Comrade Omoyele Sowore, give us your parting shot on the show, then we'll know where we head from here.
There's no parting shot when the battle has not even started. That's why they call it a parting shot. It's a shot. There will be a parting shot after liberation and victory. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Omoyele Sowore, for being my guest on the show today. I mean, it's difficult getting track of it, but you would always honor us when we'd invite you. Thank you so much. Comrade Omoyele Sowore is the convener of the Take Back Nigeria movement, and is also one of the conveners of the End Bad Governance in Nigeria's proposed nationwide strike for the 1st to 10th of August 2024. Like you heard, he said they've written a letter to the FCT Minister, Barrister Nyesom Wike, to allow them access to the Eagle Square. And I read some of the demands on that letter. I mean, yes. I mean, when you want to get something, especially from people that are probably not wanting to let go, you have to find a way to tighten things out of them. Pretty interesting demands, by the way. They said the perimeter, protecting the Aso Rock should be removed in case the protesters want to pay a visit to Mr. President at the villa. Well, we're hoping that we'll get a response which will be made available to the media if the FCT minister responds to their demands to have unrestricted access, 24 hours electricity supply, access to toilets and everything available at the Eagle Square. In fact, the letter demands that the protesters should be treated with the same level of respect that foreigners always get when the Eagle Square is being put to use. You know what the Eagle Square is meant for. And that's where the swearing is always done anytime we have a new president or a re-elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The times and the days ahead would be interesting, filled with a lot of intrigues, expectations, hope, and eventually, maybe there could be a manifestation of same beginning from the 1st of August. You're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. And my guest for the past 40 minutes had been Comrade Omoyele Sowore, the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress in the 2019 and 2023 presidential election, and the convener of the Take Back Niger movement, one of the movements, putting up the proposed nationwide protest beginning from the 1st to the 10th of August 2024. I'll take your calls and I will also read your messages. Please, let's be civil, let's respect everybody's opinion, and let's be very quick with our contribution. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Mr. Laiwala, 1 minute.
Yes, you see the issue, so let me follow in talk that they don't have the question or the authority to protecting against the creation of Nnamdi Kanu. One, because the guy committed offense raising the flag of unsovereignty state within the Nigeria. So just saying that he don't have the right to protest over it.
Okay.
He's committed offense, the biggest offense in the country. That's all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Laiwala. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Straight to the point, your name and where you're calling from.
This is Daya from Lagos.
Okay, Mr. Daya, 1 minute.
Yeah, the EndSARS protest will have been violence-free. Even the 2023 election will have been violence-free if the government did not send agberos or counter-protest.
Hello? Try and call back. We still have a few minutes more to go on the show. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon.
Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, Mr. Sars.
Okay, Mr. Sars. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. I welcome the conditions. Sowore. I know him one-on-one. I'm ex-veteran in the media. So I think I would have asked him, if he's still on ground, that he should have asked the traditional rulers that went to the Aso Rock to meet, that did they present to the president and his wife and all the ministers that there's hunger in the land, drum it into it, yes, so that they will not say they did not hear from the traditional rulers. And traditional rulers, are we bringing Abacha era again, inviting traditional rulers to watch film?
Thank you.
Or video?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Straight to the point. I like that. So that we can accommodate as many people as we can. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good evening, caller.
Hello.
You're welcome.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm very good. And you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Your name and where you calling from?
This is Obi calling from Ikeja.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I think the problem here is not the protesters. I think the cashiers, those people that collect money from government to do counter protest. This is the only problem we have in protest, as far as I'm concerned. And for those of them saying that Nnamdi Kanu, other people that have done worse things than Nnamdi Kanu, the Boko Haram people, the BATLA people, them. They are all be released. Why Nnamdi Kanu is a different matter? Why is anything concerning Igbo man is always?
Thank you very much, Obi. I don't want this conversation to be political. I don't want people to talk about the whole Nnamdi Kanu conversation. Let's just respond to what my guest talked about, read your messages, and we say our goodbyes. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Okangbelina.
You're welcome, Mr. Okangbelina.
My question is, let me even ask you. All these meetings they are making and all this rhetoric, you hear the president say this, all. Is there anyone that has, is there anything that said that looks like they want to concede to the masses? The same way he said subsidy has gone. Why can't he say, okay, subsidy is back? Just once like that. Or for one of the items. No, but they will not do that. The only thing they will do is to continue calling traditional rulers. I don't know anybody about like traditional. There's nothing traditional ruler can tell me. There's no traditional ruler that can come and tell me anything. So what are they talking about? They're not serious.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kangbelina. The last time I checked, except you're a kingmaker, traditional rulers were not voted for. The people that put themselves up for election and they swore to protect the interests of the Nigerian people, and those are the people we're holding to account. Let me read your messages on Facebook. Patrick Biazo is talking to us, and he says politicians, governors, traditional rulers, paid propagandists, and some compromised clerics, including the security agencies, have suddenly emerged and turned to lecturers of protest and hijack, whatever it means to them. But they've not been here to discuss the long hardship and suffering inflicted on the citizens by the political class. The simple truth is that they don't love the citizens but are afraid of being consumed or targeted during the protest. Protest was held in 2012 under Jonathan, and it was not met with any threat or hijack. But suddenly, imaginary protest hijackers have been found filled in Nigeria in 2024 because of these particular protests. Okay. Undi Austin is talking to us, and it says, what did the traditional rulers tell President Tinubu about the suffering, hunger, and high dollar rate in the country? Remember that the slave trade wouldn't have succeeded without the traditional rulers. Interesting. Tochuka Adele says, imagine the protest didn't hold. A part of the political capital of the politicians would have been strengthened. No callers of citizens' protests would have been taken serious. Our President Tinubu and the politicians will tell the people how they dealt with them. You can forgive. Why must you forget? Forgive and forget. They tell you how they dealt with you. That there's nothing to protest in that effort being is okay. Recommendations: if the people wish to protest at any time, they should be constructively engaged or be allowed to express their grievances. All this fear of violence because this panel protest is announced, not impromptu or spontaneous, is harangue. Okay, let's keep that line. Tochuko Adele from Obanikoro says, the people have refused subsidy removals, which have been shown that the president in this administration is another waste of time. Why must it not be reversed? Asonto Natotech Infotech says, okay, thank you for the kind words. Ralph Ejike says, Ralphie War Ejike says, Tinubu, APC, and their supporters should know that the 2012 protest was a progressive because the then president and the ruling party allowed it to be. Politicians are the ones bringing anti-protest just to cause problems. Salami Taiwo, thank you very much for your message. Thank you for the kind words. SOJ Ife with the hashtag end bad government. Okay. Benjamin he says good evening to you and your guests. To me, the president Tinubu and his cabinet have been asking what does the protesters want that the president have not done. I believe this evening Comrade Sowore has spelled out what is missing without missing his words and the demand of the average Nigerians. Please, in case they don't hear, send them the record and let the president attend to this demand before it becomes too late. That's Benjamin from Shogunle. SOJ Ife says, the company I work with are sacking staff anyhow because of the economic hardship, and they are planning to exit Nigeria soon. Salami Taiwo says the NSAD had gone violent because the state got involved. Violence started at Urile and burning of police stations and public facilities. SOJ first says, end bad government in Nigeria, we must protest. Benjamin says, to me, the president Tinubu and his cabinet have been, okay, I've read that one already. No one in Nigeria is happy. Even the president that is happy, is he happy with the situation? Yes, protest is good, especially when the government is trying to go astray in some of the policies. Okay. Kabira Adegbero says, listening to all of that Comrade Sowore has said, truly, we need to review the present constitution and the protest should be violence free. God bless Nigeria and God bless you too. The way this protest is gathering momentum, if this government have instinct, they would understand that the voice is strong and this voice is strong and one, and the wave thereof may likely be tsunamos. Chika Bende from Trade Fair. Abdul Rafiu Alaba Alakpe says, no one in Nigeria is happy, even the president. The government claims they don't know the agitators of the impending protest. What stopped Mr. Sowore from engaging with the government? Maybe there could be a compromise before the protest commences. That is from Sunday Noah. Larry Olakomi says, my previous message is not in any way offensive or assassinate the character of your guest. I only offered him my candid advice that he should start. Okay, you still said that. Case Holy says fuel should be returned to 120 naira per liter, or the protest will go on. Let me pick your calls now. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good to have you join us. Your name and where you calling from?
This is AB Pepe them speaking from Surulere.
Okay.
That NSAS protest, okay? I was there. What happened? When they started blocking roads, the government now declared curfew. The people refused to leave that place. That was when that thing happened. They saw that there was mayhem over everywhere in Lagos, burning and everything. Government declared curfew. It's not that they just started shooting or whatever. Government declared curfew, and the people refused to leave. So people that are opportune should not be giving us false reports. Please, the media should help. And protest is good, but people should not block roads. As others are protesting, let others that don't want to protest
They have the right to free movement. Thank you.
So that they block roads during that exercise. That was what happened. And the government declared curfew. I remember very well. I saw the headline, curfew, and the people refused to leave.
Thank you, AB Pepedem. Thank you very much. That's very key. My guest yesterday, Mr. Miwa Adeyemi, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, actually said it that the way you have the right to protest is the way the people have the right not to protest. So you cannot use your protest by blocking the right of movement of other people. It is counterproductive. I think we need to also set that straight. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good to have you join us today.
My name is Joshua. I'm calling you from Alagbado.
Mr. Joshua, good to have you today.
In fact, I applaud Omoyele Sowore. He's doing good. At least the fight is fighting for Nigerian masses. Is a plus to him. So I greet him. Okay, you see, this government that is now that is in Abuja, are they not the master of protest? They are the master of protest. So what they should do is to secure the people protesting. So you get, they should direct the DSS to secure people that is protesting, not instigating them or sending threats to them. So you get.
I'm with you.
Okay. As I'm talking to you, you don't read though. Nigeria don't read. So all we really need now is for them to answer. No money, no everything cost.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
Look at excuse me, let me finish my point. I'm a tricycle rider. Have you ever priced tricycle now? Tricycle now is almost 4 million.
4 million, I know.
4 million. So I'm supposed to have changed my own now. But look at how the hike on the price. So Nigeria don't read. Let them sit up, not by calling all this Oba. Who Oba help?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. That's quite unfortunate. I mean, okay, let me also read your direct messages. Quite a lot of them here. Prince from Ojo is texting us and he says, I strongly agree that Nigeria need a new constitution based on equity, justice and fair play. The government should not confront those who wish to embark on this protest, otherwise the entire episode may come bloody, perhaps degenerate into a level of chaos and anarchy. Nigeria will be great again. Thank you very much. This one says, this is Jimmy from Lagos. The NSAS and the 2023 election will have been violence free if the okay, I think this person had called already. That should be that or that, but there's a change of name. We get it. If the richest man in Africa from Nigeria is yelling and has turned a megaphone to this maladministration, who am I not to protest or join the agitation against bad government? Aluta Continua Victoria Asata. Milan FM, this government have turned Nigerians to refugees in our own country by gifting APC supporters handouts and palliatives. That's Benito. Thank you very much. Achogba Solomon from Idimu says, thank you for that clip from Tinubu in 2012 that you played. The emergency meeting going on, though, coming from adding and hypocritical Nigerians, is a sign that the planned protest is a success already. Tinubu should call the 36 state governors and Wike alongside the National Assembly members and let them remove their legs from the neck of Nigerians. All of the aforementioned are the problems of Nigeria, and I'm sending this message. 4Q has returned to part of Lagos. For the few ones who are benefiting from this government, they are threatening or calling for the shelving of the planned protest. The likes of Bayo Adenuga, or Nonuga rather, Onyeson Wike, who I'm trying not to use some adjective to describe, and the rest of them, they should go ahead and arrange their hoodlums and thugs to hijack the protest and repeat the same mistake of NSAS. I really don't want them to do that. Thank you very much. I love the letter reading to Wike from Anna Yochuku. Yes, thank you very much. This is Alhaji Ismail from Ijaye. Comrade Sowore has spoken well on the planned protest. I'm highly in support of it, and I would participate in the protest. We will do everything possible to ensure that the protest is peaceful. We will not allow thugs to hijack it like it happened during the NSAS. The protest will be carried out as contained in the 1999 Constitution. Our protest is purely anti-hunger, and now why it is tagged end bad governance. Although we're very much aware the government plans to sponsor some thugs under the umbrella of pro-government protesters to cause problem and make it look like we're the ones doing the bad things. No problem. With God, their evil plans would backfire. Thank you very much, Honorable Alhaji Umar Ismail from Ijaye. Okay. This is Olu from Badagry, and it says, any politicians at this moment in Nigeria without a face, any protest, at this moment without a face or coordinator will be a disaster about to happen. The promoters of this protest, like Sowore, have nothing to lose because all of their families are living abroad. If truly Sowore believe Nigerians are suffering and the protest is not about his own political ambition, let him organize a protest in the states and National Assembly for political and economic reforms and stay at the assembly until they agree with Nigerians. Okay, more messages. This one says, tell Sowore that they organized the NSAS in chaos with security agencies loyal to the Boko Haram. Okay, this doesn't sound right, so I need to end your message. Benjamin from Shogule says, to me, the president and his cabinet have been asking. Okay, we took that one on Facebook, so let me just pick more calls. Hello, good evening.
Bro, good evening.
Hello, you're welcome, Mr. Gege Joshua.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I would have wanted you to help me ask you. Yeah, if you consider some of all these presidential aspirants who are backing out and who are trying to disassociate themselves from the protest, or
okay. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, bro.
You need to put down the volume on your radio set, or you turn it off completely.
It's off already.
Thank you very much. Your name and where you calling from?
I'm Dixon. I come from Ogun State.
Okay, Mr. Dixon, you have the floor.
I want to let you know that already the protest is already successful. Although it has not taken place, but the response now, the anti-pattern of the government, the run-up of the government, shows that they are listening to the voice of the masses, that the masses are actually powerful. It's unfortunate that at this time, that you are listening to the yearning of the people, you are planning the counter-protest. It's not supposed to be like that. You started protesting from the beginning. Now it's your turn. You are agitated. It's not supposed to be like that now. Do what the man said you will do. What are we looking for? Give us light. I keep saying it. I said, if government can do one thing, it should be the other thing. Just give us power in this country. Every other thing will fall in place. What is so difficult in giving us power? Japan is on top of water. They have light 247. Look at Ghana here. They have power. What is happening? Just give us light. Everything. No, you see, Nigeria we are the most amiable people you can ever rule. We are very comfortable. But unfortunately, the leaders are making it to be difficult for us.
Thank you.
That's why you see we are one agitation. Give us power and there is no problem at all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve Ikelu from Maryland. It says, Comrade Sowore has spoken well. My take is that the looming protest has already achieved its purpose because it has shaken the very fabrics of this government, whether it is embarked on the first or not. The strong warnings of their governors had been sent out to the world. That's Steve Ikelu from Maryland. Okay. This one says, thank you very much for the good job you and your crew are doing. Steve Nwamboeze from Badagry. I'm not surprised what is happening in Nigeria today because I saw it coming. I'm not protesting. Let those that voted for the government should go and protest. President Ahmed Tinubu built Lagos. He's now building Nigeria. We have not seen anything yet. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you so much to everyone that joined in. Thank you so much for my guest, Comrade Omoyele Sowore, that joined in via phone. And to everyone out there going through whatever form of hardship, enduring all of this chaos, I hope you have the strength and the strength to keep going. Unfortunately, for every government that really truly listens to the people, when there are drums of war, the government should not in any way, promote such drums. There should be conversations. Democracy is about dialogue. So if the people want to protest, which is within their rights, as captured in the 1999 Constitution as amended, the government should speak to them. Unfortunately, the National Assembly, the lawmaking arm of government, have gone on 7 weeks recess in the midst of all of this chaos. I hope that this country would find its bearings. My name is Omoyele Akinde. Thank you for the cause.
Nigeria, they use computer. The leaders of Nigeria, they use radio where they turn the knob.